What's up guys, and welcome to my channel. This is part 3 of every Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare map reviewed. Today I'm going to review the next 5 maps in the game, which are Pipeline, Shipment, Showdown, Strike, and Vacant. Be sure to check out part 1 and part 2 of this series to get my reviews of previous maps. So let's go ahead and get started. The first map is Pipeline. Pipeline took place in Yaniv, Ukraine at an abandoned rail yard. This map was a huge sniper's paradise. There were a lot of windows and other spots on this map for snipers to hang out and pick people off. The looks of this map were very industrial. It had some very cool looking buildings with the rail yard style with all the individual square windows. It also had the pipelines running all over as well. That's probably why they called it Pipeline. But it did add to the industrial look. It had the green grassy area in the back, and it was surrounded by snowy mountains. But overall this map was just a typical gray shaded map. All that being said, the industrial look and snow-covered mountains off in the distance gave it some character. I will give this one a 4.8 out of 10 for the looks rating. The gameplay on this map, to me, was absolutely horrible. As I said, it was a sniper's haven. I would get picked off left and right on this map. Players would camp out in the back grassy area or on the tops of the warehouses and just wait till somebody popped up to pick off. Yes, it had this underground area that you could use to possibly flank some players, but overall it didn't work. I couldn't stand this map, and I have no idea why it was brought back in Advanced Warfare as a bonus map. I'm going to give this map a 1 out of 10 for the gameplay. The vibe of this map, however, was pretty cool. I like the rail yard look and feel to the map. The industrial style was really cool to me, and the old broken warehouses add to the cool factor of this map. The gloomy feel to this map I liked quite a bit. It was almost a creepy, haunted feeling I got with this one. Although it played horrible, the setting was really cool, and I will give it a 7 out of 10 for the cool factor. The attention to detail on this map wasn't bad at all. As stated, you got this industrial rail yard with all these pipes running everywhere. The many broken out windows on the map, and this unique sign at the top of the power plant in the middle of the map all added to the detail. It would have been cool to see maybe a bit more machinery on this map, but overall I think the detail to this map was above average. It gets a 6.8 out of 10 in this category. That brings the total for Pipeline a 19.6 out of 40. Shipment, the original Shipment. What can I say about this map? Well, it was set in Pripyat, Ukraine again, on a tiny Russian shipyard. It is the smallest map ever made in a Call of Duty game to this day, and it obviously had countless remakes. But the original one, for the looks, they are pretty low. It's a basic square with shipping containers on it. Really not much to it at all. Definitely not a pretty map. But if you look beyond the map to the outskirts, you get to see some open water and a city off in the distance. It is very basic, and I will give the looks a 2 out of 10. The gameplay. Now, I love these crazy small non-stop action maps. And Shipment is the map that started it all. There was no hope to camp on this map, and you were constantly moving. All this gunfighting was so much fun to me. You could, however, get spawn trapped a lot on this one, as it was so small. But overall, I love this map, and that's why it's one of the most remade maps in Call of Duty history. I give this map's gameplay a 9.8 out of 10. The cool factor is pretty low for this original Shipment. It is just a very basic map with some shipping containers on it. Now, some of the remakes and reimagined Shipment maps have really high cool factors to them. But for this original one, it gets a pretty low rating for the cool factor. It gets a 3 out of 10. And the attention to detail again was low for this one. Just some shipping containers, a couple destroyed cars, and that's it. Some of the buildings on the outskirts had some detail to them. And the shipping containers themselves had MW COD written on them like on Bog, which is cool. But the rating is still the lowest at a 1 out of 10. This makes Shipment's total a 15.8 out of 40. Next up is Showdown. Showdown was set in Al Khnfuta, Saudi Arabia, in a desert palace. This was a medium-sized map, and the looks of this map are very good. It is at this awesome palace. Although mostly brown, the architecture just over exceeds on this map. I really like the way the palace looks with all the towers all over and the statue right in the middle of the plaza. The architecture is really top notch on this map, and I'll give the looks a 7.8 out of 10. The gameplay was pretty fun on this map for the most part. It always seemed like there was a gunfight happening and you wouldn't have to go far to find one. However, it was really easy to get spawn trapped on this one. You got this area off to the side of the main palace that you could just sit and spawn trap people. I would also get spawn trapped with people sitting in the corners. Although pretty high action, the spawn trapping brings the gameplay down quite a bit, with a below average rating of a 4 out of 10. The cool factor was pretty high. The feeling of being in a palace is pretty awesome to me. The vibes of this map are very cool, and it reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed, which is another game series I love. It makes me want to climb one of these towers and jump into a bale of hay at the bottom. But I would say the cool factor of this map is a 7 out of 10. The attention to detail is very high on this one. This palace's detail is so good. And you got all the unique towers up in the sky. And although this map looks like a very old place, if you look on the outskirts of the map, you can see some modern construction happening. Also, the statue in the middle just tops off the level of detail. The man holding a gun, just like on Block, but this time it's not a PPSH, it's a AK-47. So cool. I give this map's attention to detail a 7.5 out of 10. That brings a total for Showdown a 26.3 out of 40. Strike was set in Afghanistan in a desert city. This was a medium to close quarters combat map. The looks of this map are mostly brown, not much color besides the signs on the buildings. But the architecture of the buildings is really cool in my opinion. It has all the different styles and temples on it, making it a very good looking map, despite being all brown for the most part. It has a variation style of buildings varying in size. I give this map a 7.8 out of 10 for its looks. The gameplay was pretty good on this map. It was fairly balanced run and gun or sniper play. There were a lot of rooms on the map that people don't go into and would hide and wait until you walked by to get a kill. But this map was pretty fun. I'll give the gameplay an 8 out of 10. The vibe is really cool. It also gives me an Assassin's Creed feel as well. The cool factor of the palaces and temples is really good. A lot of different buildings on this map, including apartments, shops, and a motel. It is in another desert town, but this one just feels different, maybe because of the temples and overall architecture of the buildings. I'll give the cool factor a 7 out of 10. The detail of this map was pretty good. There are all the different styles of buildings that you know the developer spent a lot of time designing. There are the AC units on the apartments again, the awnings, balconies, random materials spread around on the map, the statue which is very similar to the one on Showdown, again holding an AK-47. You got satellites and antennas on the rooftops, electrical power lines running all over the map, and even panels and conduit that come from those electrical power lines. There's a lot of detail on this map. I did notice on this map and on many others, the vents on the outside of the buildings have diffusers on them. It's like it's venting the outside. What's the point of that? I don't know. It's kind of funny. And also, this rose brand shows up yet again on this map. It must be pretty popular. I wonder what this rose brand is. But I'll give the attention to detail on this one an 8 out of 10. That makes Strike's total a 30.8 out of 40. Vacant. Vacant was located in Pripyat, Ukraine. It was a small map that contained a warehouse, shipping dock area, and office areas. The looks of this map were mainly gray and basic. It was a pretty simple looking map. It did have a couple trees and grass here and there, but overall not a particularly good looking map. Pretty bland. I rate it a 3 out of 10 for its looks. The gameplay for this one was really good. This was another fan favorite. You could snipe on this map, but it was really a run and gun map. The main gunfights happened inside the main buildings and the hallways, and a lot of times in the warehouse area. This was another pretty high action map. It was really fun. This one was also brought back in a couple later Call of Duty releases. I'll give the gameplay a 8.5 out of 10. The vibe of this map is kind of like Block. Being set in Pripyat, it gave that eerie feeling as well, but not quite as much as Block. The office building was pretty cool, being left deserted, and it just feels like maybe these office areas are haunted or something. Kind of hard to explain, but it does have a creepy feeling to it, which I like. I will give the cool vibe rating a 8 out of 10. This map has some detail to it. In the office area you have all the office desks and papers on them. The shipping area has some crates and boxes everywhere. The outskirts of the map has tall apartment looking buildings. Some of the offices are different than others with windows and specific details like that. There's this kitchen area in the back with this poster, lockers, this coffee machine, sink, and this stove. Added some detail to the map as well. Overall, the detail was fairly basic, a little above average at a 6 out of 10. That makes Vacant's total a 25.5 out of 40. And with that ends part 3 of my every Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare map reviewed series. If you liked this video, let me know. And be sure to subscribe so you'll know when the next video comes out. Other than that, check out part 1 and part 2. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.